For 2 years, Lila Ramirez had been living a lie. To her neighbors in the quiet Colorado mountain town, she was just another civilian contractor who worked remote IT jobs and kept to herself. They had no idea that the woman who bought groceries at their local market was a former Navy SEAL whose classified missions had made her the most wanted target of 3 different terrorist organizations. The encrypted phone in her kitchen drawer hadn't rung once in 731 days. Until today, when Colonel Martinez's voice crackled through with words that would end her peaceful exile. "Ramirez, we need you back. Enemy intelligence has located every other operator on your team. You're the only one left." The morning began like every other morning in the 2 years since Lila Ramirez had vanished from official military records. She woke at 0530 hours in her modest cabin overlooking Pine Valley, Colorado, a town so small it didn't appear on most maps, and so remote that cell phone coverage required satellite boosters. The perfect place for someone who needed to disappear completely from the radar of international intelligence networks that had been hunting her since 2021. Lila's daily routine never varied. Physical training from 0530 to 0700 hours, using equipment she'd constructed from salvaged materials in her basement. Combat skills maintenance from 0700 to 0800 hours, practicing marksmanship, knife work, and close-quarters combat techniques that kept her abilities sharp despite 2 years without official missions. Intelligence gathering from 0800 to 1000 hours, monitoring global communications networks for patterns that might indicate threats to her security or changes in the organizations that wanted her dead. To anyone observing her movements around Pine Valley, Lila appeared to be exactly what her cover identity suggested. Elena Rodriguez, a freelance software developer who worked remotely for technology companies and preferred the isolation of mountain living. She shopped at Morrison's General Store twice weekly, always purchasing the same basic supplies. She attended community events occasionally, maintaining friendly but distant relationships with local residents. She drove a 10-year-old Honda Civic that looked completely unremarkable while concealing advanced communication equipment and defensive modifications. But beneath this carefully constructed facade, Lila remained one of the most lethal special operations personnel ever trained by the United States military. Her SEAL qualification had been achieved through programs so classified that her official records showed only routine naval service before administrative discharge. Her actual operational history included missions across 4 continents, targeting high-value assets whose elimination had disrupted terrorist networks, cartel operations, and rogue state activities. The encrypted Iridium satellite phone hidden beneath her kitchen floorboards represented the only connection between her current identity and her former life. The device had remained silent for exactly 731 days, maintaining communication blackout that protected both her location and the classified operations that had necessitated her disappearance. Until 0847 hours on Tuesday morning, when the phone's secure transmission indicator began flashing with Priority 1 emergency codes that hadn't been activated since her extraction from Syria in 2021. Lila retrieved the device while conducting automatic security sweep of her cabin that detected no surveillance or intrusion attempts. The caller identification confirmed authentication protocols that verified the transmission originated from legitimate military command authority rather than hostile intelligence attempting to compromise her location. Secure line established, she spoke into the encrypted device using voice patterns that triggered biometric verification protocols. "Ramirez, this is Colonel Daniel Martinez, Joint Special Operations Command. Authentication code Yankee 77 Alpha Delta." Lila verified the authentication against codes memorized during her final briefing before going underground. Colonel Martinez had been her commanding officer during 3 classified operations and one of only 7 people worldwide who knew her actual location and cover identity. "Authentication confirmed, Colonel." "What's the situation?" "Lila, we need you back. Enemy intelligence has located every other operator on your team. You're the only one left." The words struck Lila with impact that she had been anticipating for 2 years while hoping never to hear. Operation Nightshade had been completed successfully in 2021, eliminating high-value targets across multiple countries while dismantling terrorist financial networks that had threatened American interests globally. But the mission's success had also exposed her team to retaliation from surviving enemy elements who possessed resources and determination to conduct systematic elimination of personnel responsible for their losses. Colonel, what's the status of team members? Sergeant Thompson, eliminated in Prague, February 2023. Lieutenant Commander Williams, eliminated in Bangkok, September 2023. Chief Petty Officer Johnson, eliminated in Nairobi, December 2023. Petty Officer First Class Davis, eliminated in Caracas, March 2024. Each name represented colleague with whom Lila had served during operations that required trust, coordination, and mutual dependence that created bonds stronger than family relationships. Their systematic elimination confirmed that enemy intelligence networks had achieved penetration of classified information that should have been impossible to compromise. How were they located? Intelligence assessment indicates sophisticated network analysis of financial records, communication patterns, and operational methodologies. Enemy elements reconstructed team composition and individual identities through techniques that exceeded our counterintelligence projections. Lila processed this information while calculating implications for her own security. If enemy networks had developed capabilities to identify personnel from highly classified operations, her continued safety depended on security measures that might already be compromised through methods she hadn't anticipated. Colonel, what's my current threat assessment? Lila, intelligence indicates enemy elements have identified you as primary target, but haven't determined your location or cover identity. However, their search patterns are narrowing. We estimate maximum 96 hours before they achieve actionable intelligence on your position. The timeline meant that her 2 years of careful security were approaching termination, regardless of whether she accepted reactivation. Enemy forces would eventually locate her through systematic elimination of possibilities, making her safe house a potential combat zone rather than sanctuary. What's the mission requirement? Operation Silent Thunder, high-value target elimination requiring capabilities that match your specific skill set. Timeline, immediate deployment upon acceptance. Success probability with alternative personnel, approximately 15%. Success probability with your participation, 93%. Colonel Martinez was offering her choice between accepting mission that would end her exile or remaining hidden while enemy intelligence networks closed in on her location. Neither option guaranteed survival, but one provided opportunity to eliminate threats while serving national interests that had defined her career. Colonel, I need operational details before accepting mission parameters. Classified briefing available upon arrival at Forward Operating Base Delta 7. Transportation arranged through secure channels. Extraction from your current location, available within 6 hours of confirmation. Lila looked around the cabin that had been her home for 2 years, while considering decision that would determine whether she remained Elena Rodriguez, the quiet software developer, or returned to being the most effective special operations asset in American military history. The choice was simpler than she had expected. Colonel, I accept reactivation. Lila Ramirez is back. Within 4 hours, Lila had destroyed every trace of Elena Rodriguez's existence while preparing for extraction that would return her to world of classified operations and lethal missions. Her Honda Civic was driven to a remote canyon location where thermite charges would eliminate all forensic evidence of her ownership. Her cabin was sanitized using military-grade cleaning compounds that removed DNA traces, fingerprints, and any biological indicators of her 2-year occupancy. The process required methodical destruction of everything that connected her to civilian identity she had carefully constructed. Bank accounts were emptied and closed through encrypted transfers that left no traceable records. Utility accounts were terminated with final payments that appeared routine rather than suspicious. Social media profiles and online presence were systematically erased using techniques that prevented digital archaeology from revealing her activities. But the most challenging aspect of identity termination was psychological rather than technical. For 2 years, Elena Rodriguez had become more than cover identity. She had represented possibility of normal life free from violence, classified operations, and constant threat of enemy retaliation. Destroying Elena meant abandoning hope that she could ever truly escape from world of special operations that defined her capabilities while demanding everything she could sacrifice. Her cabin's hidden armory contained equipment that represented evolution of special operations technology during her 2 years underground. Advanced body armor incorporated nanotechnology that provided protection against small arms fire while maintaining flexibility for close-quarters combat. Weapon systems included experimental ammunition designed for maximum terminal effectiveness while minimizing sound signature that could compromise stealth operations. The most significant addition to her equipment package was integrated communication system that provided real-time connectivity with command elements, satellite intelligence feeds, and tactical support assets that could coordinate with solo operations in ways that hadn't been possible during previous missions. This gear represents technological advancement that occurred while you were off the grid, Staff Sergeant Park explained while reviewing equipment specifications. Integration of artificial intelligence with tactical systems provides battlefield awareness that exceeds individual human capabilities while maintaining operator autonomy for mission execution. Lila familiarized herself with systems that enhanced rather than replaced human decision-making, providing information processing and threat assessment that allowed individual operators to achieve effectiveness previously requiring team coordination. The technology represented force multipliers that made solo operations viable against opposition that would normally require larger unit commitment. The helicopter that arrived at designated extraction coordinates carried no identifying markings, while its crew operated under communication protocols that prevented identification of their origin or destination. Lila boarded the aircraft wearing tactical gear that had been stored in her cabin's hidden armory, equipment that represented the most advanced personal weapons and protection systems available to special operations personnel. The flight toward Forward Operating Base Delta 7 took her over terrain that marked transition from civilian life back to military operations that defined her true identity. Below, the Colorado mountains gave way to desert landscapes that concealed training facilities and command centers supporting America's most classified missions. Forward Operating Base. Delta 7 appeared to be abandoned industrial facility from aerial approach, but Lila recognized defensive positions and communication arrays that indicated sophisticated military installation designed to remain invisible to satellite surveillance and electronic intelligence gathering. Colonel Martinez met her at the landing pad with expression that mixed professional relief with personal concern for our operator, whose abilities were crucial to mission success, but whose reactivation represented acknowledgement that conventional options had been exhausted. "Welcome back, Lila. I wish circumstances were different. Colonel, brief me on the operational requirements." The classified briefing took place in secure facility constructed specifically for missions requiring compartmentalized information sharing. Lila reviewed intelligence files that documented threat networks whose capabilities had evolved significantly during her 2 years underground. Target designation: Hassan Al-Mansuri, operational commander of the Crimson Tide organization, responsible for eliminating your team members. Intelligence confirms he's directing systematic campaign to identify and eliminate all personnel involved in Operation Nightshade. Lila studied photographs and intelligence summaries that revealed enemy leader whose resources included sophisticated intelligence networks, advanced technology, and personnel trained in counterintelligence operations that had proven effective against American special operations. Al-Mansuri's background included formal military training with Syrian intelligence services, advanced education in computer science and cybersecurity, and operational experience that had made him exceptionally dangerous adversary. Al-Mansuri's organization has established operational base in compound located in mountainous region of northern Syria. Facility includes advanced communications equipment, defensive installations, and personnel estimated at 40 to 60 hostile combatants with military training. Colonel Martinez activated holographic display system that provided three-dimensional tactical analysis of target facility using satellite imagery, electronic intelligence, and architectural assessment based on construction materials and defensive configurations. The compound represents sophisticated military installation, disguised as civilian facility. External appearance suggests agricultural processing center, but internal layout includes communications arrays, weapons storage, and living quarters for significant military force. Lila analyzed tactical displays while identifying vulnerabilities that could be exploited through solo infiltration techniques. The facility's elevated position provided defensive advantages while creating approach routes that skilled operator could utilize to achieve undetected access. Intelligence assessment indicates Al-Mansuri maintains irregular schedule that complicates targeting, but morning briefings with senior staff provide predictable window for engagement. Security protocols include electronic surveillance, armed patrols, and communication procedures that could summon reinforcements within 30 minutes of alert. The mission timeline required precise execution that balanced thoroughness with speed necessary to complete objectives before enemy response could prevent extraction. Lila calculated operational parameters while considering equipment requirements and tactical approaches that would maximize success probability against hardened target. The tactical challenge represented exactly the type of high-risk, high-value mission that had defined her career before going underground. Solo infiltration of heavily defended facility to eliminate target whose death would disrupt enemy operations while ending threats to remaining American personnel. Colonel, what intelligence assets are available for mission planning? Limited. Satellite imagery from 72 hours ago. Communication intercepts indicating target presence at facility. No human intelligence sources within operational area. The mission parameters exceeded normal risk assessment protocols while offering opportunity to eliminate threats that had already cost the lives of her teammates. Lila accepted the challenge with professional determination that had carried her through previous operations against seemingly impossible odds. Sir, I'll need complete tactical autonomy for mission planning and execution. Granted, select your equipment, plan your approach, execute at your discretion. Command authority. Operation Silent Thunder. Proceeds according to your assessment of optimal tactical requirements. Lila spent 18 hours in mission preparation that included equipment selection, route planning, and tactical analysis of target facility using all available intelligence. Her approach would utilize advanced insertion techniques, sophisticated surveillance technology, and weapon systems designed specifically for solo operations against hardened targets. The equipment package included specialized parachute system for high altitude, low opening insertion that would allow approach to target area without detection by enemy radar or observation posts. Advanced night vision and thermal imaging systems would provide tactical advantage during nocturnal operations. Suppressed weapons optimized for precision elimination while maintaining noise discipline essential for solo missions. Lila. Staff Sergeant Rebecca Park approached with final equipment checklist. Your loadout includes experimental gear that hasn't been field tested under combat conditions. Are you comfortable with unproven technology? Sergeant, my entire career has involved experimental approaches to impossible missions. Innovation is tactical advantage when conventional methods prove inadequate. The insertion aircraft departed forward operating base Delta 7 at 0200 hours for flight that would deliver Lila to drop zone located 40 kilometers from target facility. The approach required navigation through disputed airspace while avoiding detection by multiple air defense networks that protected enemy operational areas. The MC-130J Commando 2 aircraft had been modified specifically for clandestine insertion operations, incorporating stealth technology that reduced radar signature while maintaining operational capabilities necessary for precise delivery of personnel to hostile territory. The flight crew consisted of specialists trained in low-visibility operations who understood that mission success depended on their ability to approach enemy territory without triggering defensive responses. Approaching Syrian airspace, the pilot announced through encrypted intercom system. Multiple radar contacts confirmed, but no indication of detection or intercept attempts. Weather conditions optimal for insertion operations. Lila monitored tactical displays that showed real-time intelligence regarding enemy air defense activity, civilian air traffic that could complicate insertion timing, and meteorological conditions that would affect parachute operations. The coordination required split-second timing that left no margin for error or equipment malfunction. Lila, Captain Thomas Chen, the aircraft's mission coordinator, reviewed final insertion procedures while monitoring electronic warfare systems that provided protection against enemy detection. Your insertion window is approximately 60 seconds. Ground conditions appear optimal, but be advised we're detecting unusual electronic activity from target area that suggests enhanced security measures. The information indicated that Al-Mansuri's organization had implemented security upgrades that could complicate infiltration, while demonstrating their awareness that American forces posed ongoing threats to their operations. Enhanced electronic surveillance would require countermeasures that tested Lila's equipment while demanding tactical innovation that exceeded standard infiltration procedures. But as the aircraft climbed toward operational altitude, Lila experienced familiar psychological transition that occurred whenever she returned to active missions. The uncertainty and civilian concerns that had defined her 2 years underground disappeared, replaced by tactical focus that eliminated everything except mission objectives and operational requirements. Approaching drop zone, the pilot announced through intercom. Weather conditions optimal, no enemy radar contact detected. Lila conducted final equipment check while reviewing tactical plan that would guide her actions from insertion through extraction. The mission timeline allowed maximum 48 hours to locate, approach, and eliminate Hassan Al-Mansuri before enemy security protocols would make infiltration impossible. The parachute deployment occurred at 25,000 feet altitude in complete darkness that concealed her descent from ground-based observation. Advanced GPS navigation guided her approach to landing zone, selected for optimal concealment, while providing access routes to target facility that avoided known enemy positions. Landing in rocky terrain that provided natural camouflage, Lila secured her parachute equipment and initiated movement toward Al-Mansuri's compound, using routes that would minimize exposure while allowing surveillance of enemy security measures. The approach required 12 hours of careful movement through hostile territory where discovery would result in immediate engagement with forces that outnumbered her by significant margins. But Lila's training in solo operations had prepared her for exactly these conditions. She moved through enemy territory like mechanical force of nature, invisible to detection while gathering intelligence that would determine optimal approach to target elimination. Her reconnaissance revealed security procedures, guard rotations, and facility layout that provided tactical opportunities for mission success. Al-Mansuri's compound was situated on elevated position that provided defensive advantages while creating vulnerabilities that could be exploited by operator with appropriate training and equipment. The facility included multiple buildings connected by covered walkways, observation towers with sophisticated surveillance equipment, and defensive positions that protected against conventional assault. But Lila identified weaknesses in security design that reflected enemy assumptions about threat parameters. Their defenses were optimized against vehicle attacks and coordinated ground assault, while providing limited protection against solo infiltration by operator, using advanced techniques and specialized equipment. Her approach utilized combination of electronic warfare capabilities that disrupted enemy surveillance systems, climbing techniques that allowed access through defensive perimeters designed to stop vehicles and personnel, and timing that exploited gaps in guard rotations that provided windows of opportunity for undetected movement. The infiltration required 6 hours of precise execution that tested every aspect of her training while advancing toward building where intelligence indicated Al-Mansuri maintained his operational headquarters. Each phase of approach involved calculated risks that balanced mission requirements against survival probability under conditions that left no margin for error. Inside the compound, Lila encountered security measures that exceeded intelligence estimates while confirming that Al-Mansuri's organization possessed capabilities that represented serious threat to American operations worldwide. The facility contained communications equipment capable of coordinating operations across multiple continents, weapons stockpiles that could support extensive terrorist activities, and intelligence files that documented successful penetration of classified American information. But her greatest discovery was confirmation that Al-Mansuri was indeed responsible for systematic elimination of her teammates and was actively directing operations to locate and eliminate her. Documents in his headquarters included photographs, biographical information, and operational assessments that demonstrated enemy intelligence had achieved dangerous penetration of classified personnel records. The target elimination occurred during Al-Mansuri's morning briefing session with senior staff members whose presence provided opportunity to eliminate multiple high-value targets with single engagement. Lila's approach utilized ventilation systems that allowed undetected access to conference room where enemy leadership was conducting operational planning. Her weapons employment included specialized ammunition designed to minimize noise while maximizing terminal effectiveness against multiple targets in confined space. The engagement lasted approximately 45 seconds and resulted in complete elimination of enemy leadership structure while maintaining noise discipline that prevented immediate detection by facility security personnel. But Lila's mission expanded beyond target elimination to intelligence gathering that would provide American forces with comprehensive understanding of enemy capabilities and ongoing operations. She accessed computer systems that contained operational plans, personnel records, and communication protocols that revealed extent of enemy penetration into classified American activities. The intelligence recovery required additional 90 minutes inside hostile facility, while enemy security personnel began investigating unusual circumstances surrounding their leadership's sudden communication silence. Lila's extraction from the compound required innovative techniques that utilized diversion explosions to create confusion while she escaped through routes that avoided enemy response forces. Her exfiltration from enemy territory took 18 hours of movement through hostile areas while carrying intelligence materials that documented enemy capabilities exceeding previous assessments. The information she had recovered included financial records showing funding sources for terrorist operations, communication protocols that revealed coordination with other hostile organizations, and personnel files that identified enemy agents operating in multiple countries. The intelligence package represented strategic intelligence that could disrupt enemy operations across multiple theaters, while protecting American personnel whose identities had been compromised through methods that exceeded counterintelligence projections. Each document and data file would contribute to comprehensive understanding of threats that conventional intelligence gathering hadn't detected. During her movement toward extraction coordinates, Lila encountered evidence that Al-Mansuri's organization had established much more extensive operational network than intelligence assessments had indicated. Hidden facilities, supply caches, and communication installations suggested capability to conduct sustained operations against American interests that extended far beyond individual assassination attempts. Silent Thunder Actual, this is Overwatch. Her tactical communication system received transmission from Extraction Coordination Team. Be advised, enemy search operations are intensifying in your operational area. Multiple helicopter patrols and ground units conducting systematic sweep patterns. Recommend immediate movement to primary extraction site. Lila acknowledged transmission while calculating routes that would avoid enemy search operations while maintaining schedule that would ensure extraction aircraft could remain in hostile airspace for minimum time necessary to complete personnel recovery. The coordination required precise timing that balanced her movement capabilities against enemy response patterns. The extraction aircraft appeared at designated coordinates with precision that reflected extensive planning and coordination between multiple command elements. As she boarded the helicopter that would return her to Forward Operating Base Delta 7, Lila realized that Operation Silent Thunder had achieved results that exceeded mission parameters while providing foundation for follow-up operations that could eliminate residual threats. As the aircraft climbed toward safe altitude, Lila transmitted mission completion codes that confirmed successful elimination of primary target while announcing availability of intelligence materials requiring immediate analysis. Silent Thunder completed successfully, she reported to Colonel Martinez through encrypted communications. Primary target eliminated. Intelligence package recovered. Recommend immediate counterintelligence review of compromised systems. The debriefing at Forward Operating Base Delta 7 revealed that Lila's mission had achieved results exceeding optimal planning projections while providing intelligence that would protect American operations for years to come. Her elimination of Al-Mansuri had disrupted enemy networks responsible for ongoing threats to classified personnel, while recovered intelligence enabled systematic identification and elimination of compromised security protocols. Lila, Colonel Martinez reviewed her after-action report with expression reflecting command officer whose most difficult decisions had been validated by exceptional results. Your mission performance exceeded every assessment parameter while eliminating threats that conventional operations couldn't address. Colonel, the enemy capabilities we discovered require immediate attention. Their intelligence penetration was more extensive than projected. Intelligence teams are already implementing countermeasures based on your recovery materials. Your work has protected dozens of personnel whose identities were compromised through methods we hadn't anticipated. The recognition continued as intelligence analysts processed information that documented enemy capabilities, while military leaders assessed implications for ongoing operations that required enhanced security protocols. Lila's mission had eliminated immediate threats while providing foundation for defensive measures that would protect American interests against future penetration attempts. But her greatest achievement was personal rather than operational. The successful completion of Operation Silent Thunder had avenged her fallen teammates while eliminating enemy elements responsible for their deaths. The systematic campaign that had targeted her SEAL team was terminated through her actions, ending threats that had haunted her during 2 years of exile. What happens now, Colonel? That depends on your preferences, Lila. You can return to civilian life with new identity and enhanced security, or you can accept permanent reactivation for operations requiring your specialized capabilities. The choice represented decision between safety and service that would determine whether she remained hidden from future threats or continued accepting missions that served national interests while exposing her to ongoing risks. But Lila's decision was immediate and definitive. Colonel, I accept permanent reactivation. Elena Rodriguez is officially terminated. Lila Ramirez is back for good. 6 months later, Commander Lila Ramirez was assigned to Joint Special Operations Command as Senior Instructor for Advanced Solo Operations while maintaining readiness for missions requiring capabilities that exceeded conventional unit parameters. Her techniques became required study for personnel whose assignments demanded individual effectiveness against overwhelming opposition. The 2 years she had spent underground became preparation for career phase that utilized her experience in isolation operations while developing next generation of special operations personnel capable of achieving strategic effects through individual excellence applied under impossible conditions. Her story remained classified at levels that prevented public recognition, but within military special operations communities, Lila Ramirez became a legendary example of operator whose capabilities transcended institutional limitations while achieving results that protected American interests through performance that exceeded every parameter except determination and will to succeed against any opposition. The encrypted phone that had remained silent for 731 days became symbol of dedication that survived exile, loss, and threats that would have defeated less committed personnel. Lila had proven that excellence in special operations emerged not from avoiding risk, but from accepting challenges that separated legendary operators from ordinary military personnel. Her teammates who had been eliminated by enemy action were honored through her success in eliminating the threats responsible for their deaths while protecting future personnel from similar dangers. Their sacrifice had meaning because their surviving teammate possessed capabilities and determination to achieve justice through missions that conventional forces couldn't accomplish. The compound where Hassan Al-Mansuri had planned systematic elimination of American Special Operations personnel became testament to tactical innovation that proved individual operators could achieve strategic effects when training met technology under conditions that demanded maximum human performance against overwhelming odds. Lila Ramirez had returned from 2 years underground to demonstrate that the most effective weapons against enemy threats weren't necessarily technological systems or large unit formations. Sometimes they were individuals whose capabilities exceeded enemy countermeasures while achieving results that redefined special operations. Effectiveness through excellence applied under conditions that challenged every limitation except imagination and absolute refusal to accept defeat. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, you can subscribe to see more incredible stories like this one.